Good morning. This is Dylan Giovanni with Behind the Markets. Happy Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, August 26th. And boy, oh boy, America is starting to hate data centers. As a matter of fact, about the only thing both parties can seem to agree on these days, besides spending money without end, is hating data centers. And that was really hammered home to me this weekend as I'm reading about Greg Abbott, governor of Anything Goes Texas, basically has brought the construction of 1,800 data centers to a standstill. On the Republican side, on the Democratic side, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, has done something very similar, really slowed down the development of data centers. And look, data centers seem to be as popular as a colonoscopy or in-laws that you don't like these days. They've really gotten really unpopular. And it's not hard to understand why that is, okay? We see electric bills rising, climbing faster than the price of almost anything these days. And I have some notes here. In some parts of the country, they've jumped more than 25% in a single year. My electric bill here in Florida has jumped. I actually looked at my electric bill the other day and I was like, when did my electric bill become like one of my top 5 expenses? I couldn't believe it. So yeah, these electric bills are just jumping. It is crazy expensive. In Georgia, a power company raised rates 6 times in the past 2 years, and the average family now pays $175 a month for electricity. And look, voters are getting an idea who to blame. They're blaming the giant AI data centers that are popping up all around them. And I understand why. Look, it's gotten to the point where 7 in 10 Americans now say they don't want a data center near their town, and 8 out of 10 Americans fear that a data center near them is going to drive up prices tremendously. And look, what does this have to do with us? It has everything to do with us, okay? First of all, it affects the midterms, right? That anger at the polls really will drive voter turnout, which does not bode well for the incumbent party. Now, listen, I grew up in a different time than most of you. I'm not a partisan, okay? Really, I find both sides equally off-putting and issues from both sides fine. So I'm truly maybe the last independent you probably know. Truly independent, actually, really, genuinely. And I am also a fan of divided government. I happen to think divided government happens to be a good thing. I think one party with too much power tends to do bad things. But I'll tell you something, this has significant impact for the future of the stock market, for the midterms, for your 401k, and for where we land in the AI race. I mean, folks, listen to me. In the first 3 months of this year alone, towns across the country blocked or stalled 75 data center projects that are worth $130 billion. Towns in this country are starting to freeze AI development. And it's really wild. Now, the Dems have put forward a plan called the Data Center Moratorium Act, which freezes all data center development across the country, okay? So my point is this, if the Dems really sweep in the midterms, not that I am a Republican or Democrat, not that I actually care, but the bill they will propose, Bernie Sanders and AOC put out there, is freezing, without question, all data center development. That's a big deal. That's not a good idea. Okay. First of all, that would crash the AI trade completely if that actually happened, for the record. Freezing data center development would actually be the same thing as freezing the driver to our economic growth. Okay. It's not a good idea. AI build out is responsible for 75% of the economic growth that we are having in this country and the jobs and all the things. So not only would it freeze the economy, not only would it send the stock market crashing, because if you freeze the development of AI, the stock market would crash, but also it would hand China a crazy big lead in the AI race. And look, make no mistake about it. A lot of people are finding out. OpenAI just released notes from their investigation into a Chinese influence operation that is really trying to whip up. They were actually using ChatGPT to create social media posts to make Americans in certain towns get mad about data centers. They're releasing a post. Your electrical bill will go up this amount. This will happen. Your water will be polluted. I mean, they're saying some truth, a lot of exaggeration. The truth is the electrical bill goes up. The exaggeration is that it destroys 500 other things. But that's the great thing. That's what you need for great propaganda. You need one piece of truth and then a bunch of other falsehoods. That's what makes great propaganda, but that's another story. So my point is, if the Dems take power, their bill, Bernie Sanders and AOC, is to freeze AI basically in its track. Stock market crashes, Trump gets impeached and all that kind of stuff, okay? And the Republicans' plan for this is what Trump calls the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, which gets companies to voluntarily agree to pay for the increase in electric bills. I don't think that's a good idea either, okay? I think both of them are not good ideas. But I am genuinely interested in what you think is a good idea. I'm genuinely interested in how you feel about data centers. What do you think? If the Trump administration passed a bill that said, we're not going to make this a pledge, just big tech, whoever builds data centers is going to pick up the bill guaranteed. If that is a guarantee, would you support data centers in your town? That's a very important question because, again, I don't think either party yet has the right answer. Again, the Dems freezing data center development and AI stops cold in its track. Your 401k gets demolished. Economic growth gets slowed. Unemployment rises. Not a good idea. But the Trump side making it a pledge. I pledge to do it. That doesn't mean anything either. So I think compromise is somewhere in the middle. I am curious to know if you agree with the Dems on this, freeze all data center development, or Trump on this, create a pledge where companies voluntarily pick up the tab, or something in the middle, which is what I believe, sign a law or a rule state by state where the actual big tech builders of data centers pay their own freight for any electricity cost. That gets billed on to their side of it, not passed on to consumers. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.